We're so glad that you're here with us today. Thank you to the writers who are offering their voices. We know that this has been a journey and it's not always easy to be up here, and so thank you for your courage, for sharing your voices. I find that when we share our own individual voices, that people are able to connect with their own. It's something very powerful, especially the more specific we are. So thank you for offering your gifts. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for helping us create a space here at Middle where we can honor everyone's voices. And thank you to your fearless leader, Harold Slazer. Yay.
Yay, thank you all for coming today. And actually, here comes Miss Yvonne, so I'm going to let her get her piece together. First of all, I want to say thank you all. This has been wonderful. Middle Church has been very gracious to give us a space every week so we can learn and grow from each other and be the writers we want to be. And just have a voice. And I've watched how voices have changed each and every one of you in so many ways. And I'm very grateful for this and grateful for each and every one of you. And thank you all for coming out to support us. So thank you. Yay! Further ado, Yvonne.
That was supposed to go like that. Listen. Listen. Listen, my friends. We can tell you a tell or scribe you a scribe. So let us entertain you with our words from inside. From inside, let us unscramble your thoughts. Think how much effort it took to bring you a cohesive thought that might not fit into the word frame of the picture you think that we are suggesting. So listen, but not with your ears, for we are giving you an insight into our souls, so let your souls interpret our tells.
Yay. Thank you, Yvonne. I am in a fog. I want to be so much better than I have been, but I can't see past the here that is in my mind. I don't know if it has to do with me being tired or overworked or just plain old. Sometimes I just wish ideas manifested themselves with a twitch of the nose or a blink of the eye. An idea, instead of the mind-altering, back-breaking craziness that it takes to put a pen to paper or finger to a keyboard. If I let my foggy mind take over, I lose focus and fall off track. I will need to watch one more show, or walk the dogs, clean my room, or do laundry, wash the dishes, and then boom, all my time has gone with an unexpected phone call and the haze traps my mind. I think if I go to the bed, I'll get up early and have all day to write, but I'll sleep late and the dogs will need their walk and I'll have to pick up some milk and call that friend after coffee. Turns into lunch and then the buzzer takes me downstairs where I'll get mail and chat with a neighbor. Which reminds me to get more milk or talk to the landlord who has me on hold, which gets me turned on to Candy Crush while I'm debating my relationship and scheduling a therapy appointment. Talking to my mother makes me have to call my father and brother and uncle and aunt. Then I need to pick up dinner and walk the dogs, go to an art opening, have too much wine that makes me talk and argue about politics. That gets me too upset to take the bus, that has me walking by the pet store where I think about a new book that I have to read when I get home, which is later than I thought, so I go to bed in that foggy haze that forgot to write my story. Mark is next.
Good afternoon. Hey, everybody. This is the 9th in a 12-piece cycle, soon to be completed, starting with a quote, then a title, and then the piece. The phenomenon of the brink is the central actuality of an everyday hour on Earth. Martin Buber, I and thou. The sacred and the mundane. The most often prescribed speed limit in most parts of the United States was, until recently, 55 miles per hour. At that rate, the passenger in a car or truck whizzes past the scenery of a highway in a blur. But at the stretches that sit near exits and off-ramps, there are clusters of gas, food, and lodging outlets. And on the other parts of the road, nothing but blacktop ahead and trees on the other side. If the trip is familiar enough, or if the passenger is a long-distance commuter or long-haul driver by profession, most of the stuff lining the highway is just a backdrop with no more import, impact, or significance than the cardboard sky and muslin sea of song, but somewhere in our understanding lives the kernel of a truth that is very hard to pin down, mainly due to the fleeting nature of our own fleeting nature. The pond coming up on the right, the 7-foot deep pool in the clearing in the woods, look quick before you miss it. The pond is evaporating before your eyes, becoming tomorrow's morning dew right now. And no, you can't see it, even though you're looking right at it. To infer is the best we can expect, given the blunt tools of our existence and all the limitations an animated sack of flesh and water carries. The best we can hope for is to feel the effects of the world, the golden arches and the 80-foot ball of twine. Feel the effects as the world melts away beneath our feet. Extraordinary, yet as common as salt, is this feeling of being on a ledge atop a precipice overlooking what? An endless ocean bordered by acute angles of jagged stone, maybe? This kind of awareness is what the saints ruminated over, and in their thrall saw through the keyhole of perception into the other side of knowledge, that other side that is made of realization, dimly dawning understanding, and the spark, the everlasting spark of the divine that resides in the paradox, in the double-edged blade that cuts both ways, giving us the ability to see clearly that there is a step of the imagination that lies so far beyond normal experience, but is at the same time so near that you can taste it on your lips like honeysuckles picked and drained while walking on the path in the woods that leads to the clearing and the pond that is becoming tomorrow's morning dew. In every object and process of living lies something unknowable and far-flung, and that something is as close as the space between inhalation and exhalation. It is that unseen, invisible thing that lets you, if your eyes are open just wide enough at exactly the right time, to ride both in the passenger seat on the highway and at the same time ride along with the charged ions of a lightning bolt as it slips free from cloud to ground. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Please welcome Beth. Thank you.
Dinner Together for Mother's Day 2014. If anyone's interested, the restaurant that I'm talking about is the Arlington Steakhouse on Lexington. The hostess greets us by name. She knew we were coming and whisks us to a large semicircular booth, right side center, with a view of the entire place. The restaurant is opulent, reminiscent of a castle wine cellar or a renovated warehouse, high-vaulted brickwork ceilings, gleaming backlit cabinets of vintage wines, simple overhead chandeliers. At the far end, a wide staircase on the left leads to an upper balcony with a triple arched glass and wrought iron ceiling, reminding me of the great railway stations like Paddington or St. Pancras. A huge clock by the top of the stairs continues that theme. On the wall above us are smiling portraits of guests, including Andy Warhol and Steve Rubell from the heyday of Studio 54. Soon, the waiter comes over with menus and cocktail lists. I'm torn between the Careless Whisper and the one-night stand, but as I've already decided on a fish entree, the waiter advises me to go with the Careless Whisper, as it is lighter with citrus accents. The restaurant isn't very populated yet. There are a few couples, a few business people, one mother with a child of about 10, another with 3 ranging from about 7 to 12. Later, most tables are filled. A lot of older couples and foursomes, several intergenerational groups, a lot of casual elegance, silk blouses, suits, sport coats, ties. We sit in splendor, surveying them all for a couple of hours. I really don't have the words for this meal, this occasion. Somewhat repelled by Food Network shows, celebrity chefs, and the obscene expense of gourmet obsession, as I sit there, I am suddenly struck by a different vision, a vision of food as sacrament. The grilled branzino I chose is perfect in every way, appearance, aroma, texture, flavor, and I can't bear to leave a bite. My son's Doversol modern meunier is equally satisfying, and the mashed potatoes with Vermont butter are creamy bliss. Wait, I nearly forgot the appetizer we shared. Baked fresh figs wrapped in pancetta with warm brie topping. I thought flavor recall was an intellectual exercise, but next day that blissful combination floated through my senses in all its glory. My Careless Whisper cocktail accompanied the whole meal. When we came to dessert, we agreed to share a selection, but as we couldn't decide which one, Matthew told the waiter our plan and asked him to choose for us. Oh no, he brought his 3 favorites. First, a treacly baked pudding of incredible lightness and perfection, a peanut butter bar, but calling it by such a prosaic name is an injustice to the fluffy mousse texture that was offset by the crispiest wafer that almost evaporated on the tongue. The third dessert, a chocolate cake with several layers, chocolate ganache, alternated with fresh raspberry cream and fresh fruit, was beyond us, and we brought it home. The maitre d' and the chef, circulating the room, both came by our table during the evening to ask if everything was to our liking. They knew my son was with their organization and chatted briefly about colleagues. The easy congeniality, the lack of urgency, the graciousness of the waiter, and being there with my son, 25 years on from our first Mother's Day, so much to celebrate and be thankful for. Sharing this meal together became a sacrament. And the next reader is Wallace.
Hi, everyone. Hey, my name is Wallace, and I am a traveling poet from the great state of Alabama. So I'm kind of dressed like someone from Alabama, just being myself. I have an affirmation. I'm living a life of unsurpassed bravery that has shown me a range of beauty and miles of grace. And the piece I will recite is a combination of 4 smaller pieces that the Holy Spirit bestowed upon me to help me heal during the transitional period between the death of my father in 2000, the death of my mother in 2005, and a period of homelessness and recovery between 2006 and 2010, and after I returned to full-time work as a storytelling tour guide in Washington, D.C. Some of the language is specific to my region, so you may hear some peculiarities of pronunciation, that's why. And the pieces are all from my self-published book called That Brother Can Knit, and I have the book if you want to see it. It is called My Liberation Mantra. On a walk one rainy November day, I met a pecan tree along the way. One side had died, its black, splintered branches splayed on the ground, while the other side lived, autumn spirit turning once green leaves to brown. Its lesson became clearer as I continued my walk. It's as old as the universe, as old as salt. When fate or chance deals you a mortal blow, you must take what's left over and continue to grow. Indeed, as the pecan tree does, you must also do. Let the truth of the earth flow through you. I am as complex as I can be, and I am patient with dear me because I really want to see the nature of this complexity. This will to live, love, and learn will never die. As a mountain oak falls and decays on the earth, it becomes a cradle for sapling progeny after birth, to multiply the old oak shade beneath the clear blue sky. So if I should soar so high that my wings do burn, I will say thanks for this lesson learned. And if I should crash into white crested waves, I'll swim in love to paradise, a precious life to save. By balance, counterbalance, and faith in the flow, I swam the wide, dark waters, and my strength did grow. So strong was I upon reaching the distant side that I plied the mangrove bracken, no break in my stride. Once through the fence of emerald dreams, I spied a mountain oak of spectral green. When I saw a shaft of light enter the venerable oak, I at once stepped inside and started to float. As I rose to the top of this 100-year-old tree, I found an idea put there by me. I've a talent for words and laugh, yes I do. I try always to be kind, but at times I'm untrue. I write to remember what I sometimes forget. Live one day at a time to end a lifetime of regret. I'm lifted as I explore beyond my social conditioning. I'm quietly confident that all that is eternal, infinite, and one with everything is doing for me what I cannot do for myself. My mind is healed and strengthened by counting and remembering my many blessings often. In community, my fears are released and transformed into love freely given and received. My community becomes my refuge as I cultivate healthy, trusting relationships with other explorers. Prepared for success, I neither use nor abuse. I shine no matter what. I am enough. My journey to the harvest is blessed. Spirit draws me back to my beginning. It is the answer I seek for my wholeness. All are friends on this journey of final healing. As I release my fear, open to love, and act on the truth that all is well with my soul. The majority will share this understanding once I tell my story with honesty, care, and commitment. Indeed, faith is strengthened in community. Together we recover clarity, vision, and harmony. We discover what holds us back in a past wrought of confusion, despair, and fear, and we release this past to embrace this moment of new possibilities, trusting ourselves and our process. Our amazing and fabulous story will touch many hearts that yearn for the freedom of being enough. In full awareness, we know we are called to live in peace. We do not fear, we offer a helping hand to those who understand their destiny, and turning, we survey the surrounding wonder. We who gave up nothing for something, and refuges for playgrounds, are pieces of a cosmic puzzle assembling itself into wholeness by our collective will to live in peace. We understand that everything must change. All must be surrendered so that life can overcome death. The light has through the dark night come. We realize our destiny of long life and prosperity. We cross the threshold of new worlds where the real healing can begin. We allow all that is to carry us. We breathe out. And we breathe in. We are the resurrection. Now just go ahead and be fabulous. Thank you.
Well, most of you know about our literary magazine, but I gotta plug it anyway. We put out these once a year. I have a few copies for sale today. If you're interested, see me after. Harold and I compile this every year from the very talented people in our writing workshop and also from Middle Church at large. It's truly a wonderful thing, and check it out. I have 3 poems. We had to write on the word age, A-G-E. We're living in a disposable age, a polemical age, a laughable age, a tragical age, a changeable age, an age of individuality that curls back toward conformity like a snake eating its tail. A digital age of tweets and posts and texts, and yet an age where we crave face-to-face contact. It's an age of excess and yet not having enough. An age of hate and yet of radical love cradling the hated ones. It's an age of extreme weather, fires, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, and intensely beautiful days. An age of jealously guarded privacy and unprecedented surveillance. An age of space travel and deep drilling, of discovery and discovering how little we actually know, of unstoppable development and reclaimed land, flowers blooming above sludge. A paradoxical age of rural lifestyle movements within cities, beehives and tomato plants on rooftops, crops of corn and herbs in parking lots, where we're both locavore and globally connected. An age where the city has no future and is the future, where we all speak different languages and yet push the same buttons. Spring thaw. I like the idea of a watch driven by a heartbeat and clocks fueled by the sun and a job touched by luck. The earth's rotation propelled by a cat's introspective purr as a warming trend quickens the universe. Carriage horses stamp and snort under the blood moon, and rabbits nibble the leaves in the vineyard, a midnight tableau of peaceful cohabitation. The breath of a penitent melts frost into dew. In other words, spring arrives. The tributaries of the creek travel in all directions, coaxed by snowmelt. There is ample flour and sugar in the larder, sifted from the wings of woodland fairies. There are no velvet ropes on the world, no locked doors, and as luck would have it, you're on the VIP list, and so is everyone else. Subway beat. Two boys enter the subway car with a boombox. I watch them ride the poles, defy gravity, weightless youth somersaulting, swooping, hanging, to nasal sampled voices and swaggering drum machine. It's not my thing, but I'm glad to hear modest applause when they finish, a few coins dropped in a past baseball cap. They exit next stop. Still gripping my pole as the train picks up speed and leans into a curve, I almost feel my own feet lift. Who's next? The next is Ayana Stern.
Okay. This I wrote after being on a retreat with Thich Nhat Hanh. It's called Walking Meditation. The wind is doing the breathing. Clouds high in the clear sky today, clouds that bring rain of compassion. The ground is so soft as I place my steps that it cradles and nestles my feet. We walk simply on the path together. A Vietnamese girl in a brown dress skims the path with me. We sit in a circle and rest with Thai, a flame transmitted to me in the bright autumn air. A smile, sweet stones, the pond, sitting here in this circle are all we need for peace. Okay, this is called This Morning, that I wrote after I took a trip to see my brother in Texas. It's a dialogue with nature. I asked the Texas limestone cliffs for their advice. They said, stay porous. We've been here 100 million years, yet fresh water washes through us each time it rains. We're always changing, and let others change. Our spine, our center, our rock cliffs hold the change, letting it pour through us. And next is Donna.
Hello. I have a poem and a short story. I met a young lady while on the train. She came and sat down next to me. She began to talk, so I began to listen. She told me about her father, about her mother. She said, my brothers and my sister too. I have no children and I don't know what to do. I have a dog and a cat. My dog chases the cat. But no one seems to listen to what I have to say, so I decide to walk away. So I asked her, what is it that you want to say? She says, they don't know I'm gay. Wow. My name is Lucky. Up north is where I'm from. I'm a lonesome traveler and a gambler. Blackjack is my game. Blackjack is to be exact. And I tried my damnedest not to lose. I entered in the casino one evening. At the blackjack table, I took a seat. I placed my bet on the table along with other players, then ordered some drinks. After several hands, I ended up losing what I had to a lady named Sue. Now, Sue and the dealer, they work together to make sure you don't lose, to make sure you don't win. Now that my money's gone, it was time for me to head on out on the road. As I began to exit the casino, I bumped into a young lady. She says, my name is Ginger LaRouge. I said hello, and she offered to buy me a drink. Well, we walked on over to the bar and ordered a couple of drinks. She asked me to stay and watch the show because she's performing here tonight. So I decided to watch Miss Ginger LaRouge. She got on stage and she began to sing Are You Lonesome Tonight by the late, great Elvis Presley. After the show, we ended up going to the penthouse suite where she stays whenever she's in town. Now inside the room was flowers, chocolate, fruits, and a minute bar. I made us a drink. A few minutes after, my hands was all over her. Oops, you're not a woman. Okay, so we both got to the oops and made passionate love that night. Morning came and I must leave and head back home. Miss Ginger, in her replied, here's my address and my phone number, and I would like you to come back to me and have a home where we can share together. And Lucky replied, I'll be back soon, real soon. Next, lovely Miss Sierra.
It's nice to see so many faces out here. I want to acknowledge Hal. Just like this church is, you're welcome, come as you are, be who you are. That's what this writing class is about. I've come to it off and on 3 years, 4 years. And some people are still here. And the degree of personal embodiment that has happened and the quality of the writing that has happened makes me shake. There really, really is a divineness about this. So, in my nervous state, I want to read something that I wrote 10 days ago. One of the ways that this thing works is that people can bring in whatever they're working on, whatever they've published, and each Wednesday we have a half hour in which we can spontaneously write about a word or two that he offers us. So 2 weeks ago, 2 Wednesdays ago, the word was licorice. And I followed someone who started out with, "I hate licorice." So this is how mine started. Boy, oh boy, do I love licorice. The black kind. As a kid, I loved the black tongue it gave me, and the way you could pull and only sometimes break it. We got it at the penny candy store, and it was a long walk if you didn't have a bike. I'd start out by myself from my home on my bike and head through the community toward Horace Harding Boulevard. That's a big road. We were not allowed to cross it. We were all free to roam the curving streets of our community, but to leave the community was absolutely forbidden. That didn't stop us. As I rode, I'd catch up or be caught up by other kids in search of adventure. The candy store was definitely adventure to us. Mostly 8- and 9-year-olds. We had to go a mile or so out of the way to get to a place where we figured it was pretty safe to cross a service road that passed behind the gas station and the candy convenience store. So, feeling safe, we crossed there. We'd meet up with other kids once inside, and we'd fill all the stools at the ice cream counter with its paraphernalia and ice cream boxes with black lids. Our money would hit the marble counter, and we'd count out enough for a cone. Our money had been tied up, for the most part, in handkerchiefs, all wadded up and stuffed in our pockets. Jimmy never had enough except for a penny of licorice. Eventually, he always managed to get enough licks off of everyone else's cones that he almost always had as much ice cream as everyone else did. They made their own ice cream at this place, but there were never more than 6 flavors: vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, of course, and sometimes butter pecan, pistachio, or cherry vanilla. The other big deal there was a cherry Coke, large or small, with or without ice. We'd gibber and jabber and laugh at Jimmy as he approached each of us. We always stretched out our cone, holding hand, ready for his lick. Then we hit the penny candies. Now, in a sugar high, drunk, we'd get on our bikes and call out a destination, everyone racing off in their surefire fastest way. So if they got there first, they could call out the destination. Some of the other candies that we had confiscated and put in our pockets were Tootsie Rolls and rock candy on a string and long sheets of colored dots, one of my favorite forms of pure sugar. Sometimes we'd go to the broken down remains of Eddie Cantor's house that had been blown up to avoid income taxes when they were initiated. It was a wonderfully dangerous place. There was one high beam, about 20 feet, that we loved to run across. Other times we'd go to the skunk patch stream and try not to step on the leaves that sent up a terrible odor. And sometimes we'd wade in the water in our kids. The houses under construction were really enchanted playgrounds. When we were very hot, we'd run through the sprinklers of someone's lawn. 10, 15 kids. No one ever complained, they just let us go. And off we would go, dripping water. By now I had a big, black, juicy licorice tongue, and sometimes even my lips would be stained. As a young adult, I discovered Blum's soft licorice candies in San Francisco, and boy, oh boy, did I love them. I ordered them, mail-ordered them from San Francisco to New York. Even today, I have a Trader Joe's box of little black Scottish dogs in licorice candies in my pantry. Yum. So now we have Fred coming up.
No scary music, just the facts. My coworker and I were on the graveyard shift at Brooklyn Fire Headquarters, where we dispatched alarms of fire and emergencies. Before becoming centralized, each borough had its own dispatch office that functioned with a small staff. As fate would have it, there was a lull in the action that night, a short window when my coworker, Colin, and I were alone on the dispatch floor after telling one of the crew we understood that when you gotta go, so go. And telling the other two on duty that we had complete faith that they would come right back if they wanted to go get coffee from the kitchen commissary, a room right off the work floor just a few yards away. My relationship with Colin was not one of friendship, but friendly. We were relaxed enough to talk freely about a host of topics beyond job-related stuff. That's what we were doing that night, not knowing the stage was set for him and me to experience the strangest thing we had ever seen in our combined 30-something years on the job. We saw a male figure from out of the blue come through the inner door near the front of the building, an elderly white man with a slight build, close-cut gray hair, wearing an off-white windbreaker and black pants. Slowly, calmly, he walked about 10 feet to the door that led down to the basement, opened it, and simply disappeared. Colin and I just looked at each other, surprised and silent. When each of the crew returned from their short break, we asked if they had seen or heard anyone or anything strange that they couldn't account for. They looked at each other and said, "No, why?" I answered their question with a question. Did anyone briefly step outside and come back in, possibly not relocking a door? They said, "No. Why?" Without answering them, Colin and I quickly went to check every entrance and exit to that building, found them all secure. We were locked in tight, just like the secret between us. Colin had just told me he was sure that the figure we had both simultaneously witnessed was that of his recently deceased father. We had shared a vision of someone dear to him, someone I never even knew in life. No scary music, but all true. When I was a young man, age 22, my mother, Mary Alice, who was recently deceased at 43, appeared to me in a beatified state. Beatified is my word to describe this woman who in life had chocolate brown skin, silky black hair, and what I call compassionate eyes. But now her skin was radiant, glowing copper, so much so it seemed to be in vibrant motion. She wore a gown, not of Alice blue, but softest white, and stood straight, much taller than the 5'2" I knew her to be. Her figure and demeanor were those of a human being completely in their prime, well past youth, but youthful, strong, confident, comfortable. No way old, but wise at the height of capability to do whatever she chose in her afterlife. My mother, in the most complete, radiant, and beautiful state I ever could imagine. But her presence was real. You might think I was asleep. You can say it was just a dream, but she did appear to me, dream or not, and her purpose was clear in her words. She said to me, her son, mired in the quiet turmoil of her unexpected passing, "Don't worry, Freddie. Everything is okay. Everything is going to be all right." No scary music, just positive words that still get me through every tough day and night. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to present Michelle. All right.
Wow. Hi. The name of this piece is High C. As Asia sat in silence in the solarium, perched at the hi-hat, her favorite seat with an unobstructed view of the East River, pondering the evening meal, she watched as the boats and ships lazily traverse the waterway between the city and Roosevelt Island, the seagulls having their way with fish atop the water. Her thoughts rose and ebbed with the tide, drifting like a log, with no particular land in sight. Asia, a Peruvian beauty, bore emerald-colored eyes that say, "I got this." Cafe latte-colored skin, who stood 5'9" in her stocking feet, specialized in rabbinical divorce law, was employed by one of the largest matrimonial law firms in New York City. The position, while not yet a partner, afforded her a lifestyle most 30-something-year-olds only dreamed of. Having graduated from Cornell University, NYU Law School, in addition to speaking and reading Yiddish and Hebrew, served not only as outstanding credentials, but the basis for a lean, mean legal machine. When shedding the legal mantle, you could often find her home, which consisted of a top-floor, 2-bedroom condo on the East River, cooking and listening to Miss Nina Simone, Dr. Maya Angelou, Nikki Giovanni, or Wilsonia Benita Driver, aka Sonia Sanchez, each of whom Sonia found spiritually uplifting, soul-satisfying. While never professing to be religious, Asia felt connected to the greater universe, and on occasion she would find herself at Middle Collegiate Church in the East Village, absorbing the message and just patting her foot, eyes closed, mesmerized in the word and the song. The Alaskan sockeye, purchased from Hunts Point evening last, sitting in a marinade of sage, Italian garlic, cardamom, miso, and Myers lemon juice, with just a dash of pressed wasabi, accompanied by fresh sauteed spinach with a chef's dollop of buttermilk chive to leave a lump here and there mashed potatoes. In the Sub-Zero wine chiller, a Christmas present from an ex set some excellent whites to choose from. Yes, that would do nicely, Asia said, to no one in particular, when she noticed a hum. Well, not quite a hum, more of a buzz. What? How? How and when she entered, I know not. I first saw her peripherally floating on a puff of rainbow-colored air as she danced from one yellow puff to the next blue and pink puff. She pirouetted off the brightly lit red puff and skied on air to the nape of my neck, where she planted, ever so softly, the sweetest, most tender kiss. Before I could ask from whence she came and who she was, she moonwalked on a circle of air backwards. Oh, what agility she had. She was colors of happy. Starburst candy unwrapped. The first 5 colors in the Crayola box. Dream colors that one can't put a name to. She left the circle and whizzed through the air, only to land on my shoulder, where she rested for a second. When asked again her name, "Where are you from? What are you doing here?" she replied, while exiting through a parting of puffs, "I'm dancing through life in the shadow of the tree of peace. And my name, dear one, is High C, for I am a wonderful note of life." Thank you, Ms. Renee Scott. Thank you very much.
All right, yay, thank you everybody. That concludes another year's work of work. Thank you so much for coming here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.